Hi mamas, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then hello, welcome. My name is Tori and I'm the Wild Mother, and on my channel I make videos all about motherhood inspired by nature, which includes topics like eating a nourishing traditional foods diet, keeping your family healthy with herbs and natural remedies, and respectful conscious parenting, as well as a little bit about natural birth and natural pregnancy related topics thrown into the mix. And that is actually what today's video is about. It is about home birth and how to prepare your toddler for the birth of your new baby that's going to be born at home. So just for a little bit of context, I have a 2.5-year-old, and then I just had a baby back in October, so 5 months ago, and I had a home birth with him. And so he was born at home, and so my toddler had just turned 2, and I put in a lot of effort to make sure that she was thoroughly prepared for my home birth. I really wanted her to be involved in the process because I feel like when your toddler or your older children are involved in your birth as much as possible, they will take the transition to having a little sibling much easier because they were very involved in it, and it's not just like, oh, mom and dad went to the hospital for 2 days and then they came back and boom, the baby's here, which I feel like to a toddler could be kind of confusing for them to connect the dots. But with a home birth and with your toddler's right there with you, I feel like it just makes the transition to having a new sibling a little bit easier for them. So that was one of the big reasons that I wanted my toddler to be there for my home birth. Another reason is just because having a new baby is, a very bonding family thing, and my toddler's part of our family, and I wanted her to feel included and bonded as a family with us too, and be able to see the process happen and meet her new baby sibling right after the baby was born. So anyway, those are some reasons why I think it could be a good idea and why I wanted to have my toddler at the birth. I totally respect when moms aren't a big fan and maybe don't want their toddler there. I get that it can come with a lot of unknowns because birth is unpredictable and toddlers can be unpredictable too. You might be wondering like, well, will my toddler be scared with if I'm loud or with different noises I make? Will my toddler be distracting and distract me from focusing on birthing my baby? And so those were definitely some things that I struggled with as well during my pregnancy and just wondering what we should do. So anyway, I was very proud of the preparation that I put into helping my toddler be prepared for our home birth. So I wanted to share my exact strategy and all the things that I did so that if you're planning home birth too, you can take some of these tips and help your toddler feel prepared as well. So without further ado, let's dive into this video. So I'm going to break this into 2 sections. The first section is going to be preparation before birth, and then the last section is going to be things during the birth that your toddler can be doing to help them feel involved. So for preparation for the birth, one of the things that I did with my toddler to prepare her is we read home birth books. So these are the 2 books that I ordered. The first one is called The Birth of Our New Baby by Ashley Comer, and then the second one is called Welcome Home by Alicia Bork. And both of these are available on Amazon, and we really liked them. We read them so many times to my toddler and help give her a visual depiction of what birth would be like and just an idea so that she'd be familiar with it. These books go over a lot of stuff, all the way from emotions in pregnancy to stretch marks and labor and hanging up birth affirmations and doula and giving birth and blood and the placenta and resting and nourishment after and weighing the baby. And we really enjoyed them both. And yeah, I feel like it really did help prepare my toddler. So I definitely recommend getting one or both. I think that these books would be fine for up to age 7 or 8-year-olds would probably enjoy it. So you got a good wide range there, and yeah, I would definitely recommend getting some home birth books to read. Another thing that I recommend doing is to watch birth videos together to help prepare your child for what the process of birth will look like if they've never seen a birth before and they don't really know about it. Definitely recommend watching the videos first yourself to proof them, to make sure there's nothing scary in it or nothing you don't want your toddler to see. But there are lots of great inspiring birth videos on YouTube, so you can just watch some of those and then have some bonding time with your child to help inspire and motivate you, and also prepare your toddler for what your birth will look like. Another thing to do ahead of time is to have your child meet your birth team, as many of the people of your birth team as possible. If you think about it from like a toddler's perspective, there's a lot going on with birth, and it can be kind of an intense time, and so nothing will add to their tension more than if there's a bunch of strangers in their house that they've never met before. But if they've met the members of your birth team and you've talked to them about their names and their different jobs that they're going to be doing, then I really feel like that will help your toddler be more at ease and more prepared. So even down to like your birth photographer. My toddler and I went and met my birth photographer at the park actually one day, and so we talked about her a lot together, like she was just a part of our team. So every time we read these books and we would talk about what our home birth would be like, I would mention the birth photographer's name, I would mention the doula's name and the midwife's name, and just tell her about everybody that was going to be there. And she knew my midwife because she saw her a couple times a month, and she like knew and had met my doula and birth photographer. So I definitely think that that helped prepare her, to help her feel more comfortable with everybody that was going to be at the birth. Another thing would be to involve your older child in your prenatal care as much as possible. Different midwives do it differently. Sometimes you go to their office, sometimes they come to your home, but just trying to help your toddler be involved in your prenatal care when you can. I know my daughter loved to help measure my belly, and she loved to help find the baby's heartbeat with the Doppler and like listen to the baby's heartbeat. And most of the time she would just like play, you know, with the pens or something on the table beside me while I had my appointment. But when we could involve her, we always did try to, and I think that helps her feel bonded to the baby and closer to me and the midwife as well. This one probably goes without saying, but I definitely recommend going beyond just reading books or watching videos and actually talking to your child about your specific situation and what your birth might look like. Toddlers do really well when there's a plan, at least in my experience. My toddler does really well when she knows the plan. And so we talked so many times in detail about what our birth might look like, the time the baby might come, where everybody was going to be, like where daddy would be, where she would be, what kind of noises I would be making, where I might be laboring, different things like that, and just had like a very clear plan so that she knew exactly what to expect on the day when I went into labor and then her little sibling was born. So now let's go into the different things that I think are good to think about doing during your actual labor and birth to help involve your toddler in the process. So my number one recommendation is to have a special job for your toddler to do during your birth. So this book, The Birth of Our New Baby, in the back, it has a section called How Can You Help Mama in Labor? And it gives several different ideas on this page, little icons. And we would always read this, and it gave my toddler some really great ideas for things that she could do to help me while I'm in labor. The things on here are like, you know, gentle touches, quiet voices, play soft music, a cool rag on mama's forehead, a drink, a snack, that type of thing. And so for my toddler, we said that her responsibility was going to be to bring me a drink. So to bring me my water bottle with a straw so that I would stay hydrated. That was something that I knew that she would be able to take ownership over, and it would help her feel really involved. We also said that she could bring me snacks and that she would eat snacks. So I told her that we would have like apples cut up and cheese and meat sticks, and that she could bring them to me so I could take a bite, and then that she would be eating the snacks too. So those were my toddler's 2 responsibilities during our birth. And obviously you know your child best and like what they're capable of and if they would enjoy this or not. But I knew that my toddler would really like having a special responsibility for her to feel involved in the birth. So that is a great tip to keep in mind. Another tip is to consider having someone there that can give your toddler their full attention, whether that be your sister, your mom, your mother-in-law, your grandma, a friend, or even a sibling doula is a thing where you can hire a doula that's specifically for the siblings. Just consider having somebody there to be able to attend to your children, get them food, lay them down for a nap, put them down to bed, take them out if they're scared and go play with them, or make sure to bring them back in. When you're giving birth, if you want them there for the actual birth process, it could just be good to have someone there dedicated to their care. Honestly, don't sweat it if you don't have somebody who can be there, but it's just something to consider. I will talk about this later, but oftentimes babies are actually end up being born at night anyway when your toddler will probably be sleeping. So in that case, you wouldn't need anybody there. So you could just consider having somebody available just in case you go into labor and are in active labor and going to give birth in the middle of the day and you need someone to care for your toddler. Then you might want to consider having a caregiver available to you. Another tip could be to have a box of special activities available that is special for your toddler to play with specifically while you're in labor. So you could take your child to like the dollar store and just get new supplies that maybe they haven't seen before. So like you could get pom-poms and a muffin tin and have like a sorting by color activity available. Get Play-Doh, get sticker books, crayons and markers, different easy activities and crafts that are things that could keep them entertained for a little bit that they also don't see every day. My toddler loves sticker books, and so I knew that sticker books would be good to keep her entertained for a while, and that could be a special thing that she could do while I was in labor. My last note is to remember that there is a good chance your toddler could be sleeping. You could go through all this preparation and then boom, you could go into labor at dinner time, put them down to bed, and then the majority of your labor and your birth happen in the middle of the night while they're sleeping, and you won't even need any of the preparation. So don't stress too much. My midwives did tell me that that is actually a pretty common thing that happens for moms to be like in a little bit of labor during the day, and then nighttime comes and they lay their kids down to bed, and that's when active labor starts, and then they have their baby in the night. And I think it's just maybe like a primal instinct that our bodies have to know, okay, we're safe now, our kids are safe, they're sleeping, we can dedicate this time to just be focused on birthing this baby. So above all, don't stress about your toddler being there, because they may end up being asleep anyway. But ultimately, just remember that like birth is normal, and our children don't think, when they're toddlers, they don't think that birth is like a scary thing. If we normalize it, they think it's normal too. And so try not to stress too much, and just do your best to be able to prepare your toddler for your birth and involve them in the process, and I'm sure that it will go absolutely beautifully. And I've read in groups that a lot of times moms are actually really surprised, pleasantly surprised, with how well their toddlers handled being there when their sibling was born. So I'm sure that that will be the beautiful experience that you have if that's something that you're calling in and that you desire. So I hope that this video was helpful to you, and if it was, then I would love if you subscribe to my channel. And also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, that would be awesome too. It is @WildMotherLife, and I'll link it in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week. Stay wild, mamas.